Again, my name's Sue and Indigosprites is my YouTube channel. Anything else to do with admin will be in the description box below in this corner, just so as not to waste valuable uploading time. Anyway, thanks for coming back to the podcast, and without further ado, I'll let you know what's been happening in my crafty life since I last saw you. Or if you're new, welcome. Right, finishes. No surprise. A pair of socks. Stick them down. Here they are. And these are, getting a bit closer to camera. These are knitted using King Cole Zig Zag yarn. And as hopefully you can see quite clearly there, they're actually washed and they're blocking at the moment. There's King Cole Zig Zag sock yarn, and there's plenty of zigs going on, but I think only one line of zags from what I could tell. Slightly big on the blockers, but would help if I put them on properly in the first place, wouldn't it? So yes, King Cole Zig Zag sock yarn, 75% Superwash merino, 25% nylon, and can be found online on most well-known websites like Wool Warehouse, probably Derrimores, Love Knitting. Tried the rounded toe for the first time. I found a free tutorial online. Again, I will put the details below. And first time I tried it, it was good, it was easy, it was better than the wedged toe in my opinion, although the foot to me looks slightly shorter in length. So these are going to my daughter, so it'll be interesting to know what she thinks. If they are slightly shorter in length, then they'll probably come back to me as I have a slightly smaller foot. So there they are, the socks I've just finished. I actually got the yarn because online it looked like a Christmassy yarn, and for some reason I just didn't read the colourway, because when I got it, it actually says on the label it's the summer colourway, which I was very surprised at until I started knitting with it, and then all this pink and sort of cherry black, dark cherry came up, and I did a simple 2x2 rib. I did a 50 row leg and a 50 row foot, simple slip stitch heel, and I knitted them on 2.5 DPNs, and I do a 64 stitch sock, but I do like my socks, I don't like them to cling too much, so I do one size bigger in the DPNs than perhaps would normally be done. And they did start out as mine because my daughter likes the 2.25 DPN sock, and when I said I was a bit disappointed the yarn wasn't Christmassy, she kindly offered to take them off my hands. And I said, well, they are done on the bigger needles. She said, oh, I don't mind. So they're going to her. So that's my finished socks. And sort those out later. Those finished socks are the ones I showed on my last episode. They're for me. And on to the next finished thing, which I'm quite excited about. It's a long time since I've done a big project, and by big I mean the whole coverage of the fabric from one corner to the next. And this is my cross stitch finish, and it is I showed it in progress on the last podcast, but I will just repeat. It is a Sheena Rogers design called Halloween Village. Sheena Rogers is on Etsy. All her designs are on Etsy, and they're all in this size cushion form, and I think it's 5 by 5 inch if my memory serves me right. But anyway, I'll put the details in descriptions below. And I'm absolutely delighted with this because I haven't done, like I said, a significantly sized cross stitch project for a while, and B, I just love it. I enjoyed every stitch, and I just love the way this has been designed. I love the colours, and you see these little, there's two ghosts, a witch and a skeleton, walking along the pavement here, probably all off to go trick-or-treating in these lovely big houses. And try and get that a bit closer so you can see. And in the corners there's these lovely pumpkins, let's move that over, and lanterns. That's in the top corner. In the bottom corner you have pumpkins on their own. The side panels have got this lovely patterning, and just the way I love all the central section comes together in this lovely almost flowery shape. I filled it with walnut shell shavings. Try saying that when you've had a few G&Ts. But I'm a great fan of Floss Tube on YouTube. It's very, very tactile. You can't help but squish it, which probably isn't the best thing for a piece of cross stitch, but there you go. I'm a great fan of Floss Tube, and they all seem to fill their little cushions with walnut shell shavings, so I thought I'd give it a go. I sent for them on, I think, mine were eBay, and I can't remember the weight of the bag, but I'll try and look it up and put it in descriptions below as well. But I think there's enough, well, there's definitely enough there to do at least one more cushion this size, if not two. But yeah, I was really pleased with them. Not the cheapest thing I felt, because I think it was £10 something, although it was free postage and packing, so I suppose it's not that bad really because of the weight of it. But yes, £10 and so many pence, I can't remember exactly. But they walnut shell shavings are freely available on Amazon and eBay in this country, and it does make for a lovely shape to the cushion. And the edging, I think if I remember rightly, the design by Sheena Rogers. Did I say Sheena Rogers earlier? I hope I did. I have a tendency to say Sheena Eastbourne. Does anybody remember Sheena Eastbourne? Yes, that's going back a bit. But anyway, Sheena Rogers Designs on Etsy, and I think she just shows the model finished on the front of the design with just the plain, well, I say plain, it's nothing but, it's not plain at all, with the just the stitching. She doesn't put an edging to it, but I put a braided edge on. I have a fabric shop near me called C&H Fabrics, and they do some lovely braidings. And this braid was made up of 3 strands, and what I did was I pinned it on halfway round first, and then stood back and looked at it, and I didn't like it. I thought it was too chunky for the 3 braids. So I actually unravelled one of the braids, and then halfway I pinned one halfway round of the two braids together, and then the other side I pinned just the one braid to see what I liked best, and I preferred the two braids. So in the end I put this braid on, and all I did was I went around over sewing every so often to secure it on the edge all the way round. And the back is a lovely black mottled fabric, and so the double braid I secured all the way round, and the bow at the top, which might not be that, I'll try and get it a bit clearer, I did with the single braid, and actually let's straighten that out so you might see it better. Can you see the little back charm I put in the middle? There. Excuse me, tummy mumbling. But yeah, so that's my cross stitch finish, and I couldn't be more delighted with it, and a picture of it will be on Instagram as well, including the details. So, right, moving on, and what am I working on at the moment? And you'll not be surprised to know, a pair of socks. So, let's get these out the bag. I was asked from the last video, do I ever use project bags? The answer is yes. I don't buy many of the beautiful ones that are out there from the amazing podcasters that have been around on YouTube for a while now. There was one I really liked, and it's actually this one that I'm keeping these socks in, and it's got this lovely sort of gold leaf on an autumnal background. Absolutely loved it. It's so me, as you can probably tell by my small yarn stash behind me. I do love the autumnal colours, and inside is this lovely green fabric in keeping with the autumnal, made by Ellie of Craft House Magic, which is her label there, and plenty of room to keep a sock project in there. It's got the lovely squared off bottom, so there's plenty of room in it. I don't buy many. I've only ever bought two of those type of project bags. I bought that one from Ellie and another one from Ellie as well of Craft House Magic, which was again, it was actually a Halloween one, which was a lovely orange fabric, with a Halloween orange fabric with a black lace, and the lace was had Halloween bits depicted on it, like I think witches, maybe skeletons, and it was sort of draped over the top. And my daughter loves Halloween, and she actually calls Halloween her Christmas, so I actually bought that for her and gave it to her as a gift one Halloween as well. So other project bags that I use, I'll come to a bit later on in the video. But anyway, these are the socks I'm making at the moment. And a bit of a spring step in the colours there. The yarn is opal sock yarn, and it is the Colourway is in their new range, the Claude Monet range. Now, the actual painting these colours depict, they've got in German on the ball band, so I'm not quite sure what it is, and I should have looked it up really. Again, I'll put it in the descriptions below. But that is the ball of yarn. I believe it's the usual 75% superwash and 25% nylon. It's a lovely soft yarn, and you can really, I mean, that's the first thing I do when I open a ball of yarn. I sniff it. and absolutely love the woolly smell that comes from opal yarn. I have used opal yarn before, but not much. I've used it for my daughter's partner's socks when I've made him some last year, because they tend to have a longer meterage. Well, the ones I managed to get hold of did anyway. So I used it then. But this is a delightful yarn to use. It's lovely and smooth on the needles. The needles I'm using, I believe these are Aida DPNs, and they are 2.5, as I like a slightly looser sock. And there's 2x2 rib, just a plain vanilla sock. I tend to mostly do plain vanilla socks, I must admit. I need to be more adventurous and try patterns, and I do have some patterns for pattern socks. Yeah, I really must give that a go. And the pattern is, I believe, a Wendy Fusion pattern, which I've had for ages and I use over and over again in my sock yarns. And this, I think this is so pretty. The colours in this are just so pretty. And yeah, as you can see, I've turned the heel, slip stitch heel, and don't know if I'll ever be brave enough to try Fish Lips Kiss heel, is it called? That looks so complicated, but who knows, I might one day, I just might. So that's my current pair of socks. The Claude Monet range, I have got all of the Claude Monet range. There's 8 balls altogether, and I have got them all. So, you know, you will see some more appearing over the weeks. So that's my current sock project. What else have we got? Oh, crochet blanket. Now I'm going to show this folded up a bit because it is getting quite big now. But I absolutely love crocheting blankets. So this is folded into 4 at the moment. And this design was based on, well, these colours were actually the colour recipe as thought up by Heather of the Patchwork Heart blog, and she's the Patchwork Heart on Instagram and Facebook as well. And oh, I love crochet blankets. And the colours were based on the works of ALLERGY, who I believe is a fashion designer. Apologies if I've got that wrong. An Irish fashion designer who is based in London. I hadn't heard of her before until I saw these colours, and obviously the lovely autumnal look of them really shouted out to me. That looks quite as though there's lots of plain blocks, but there are actually lots of mixed blocks as well. So what I did, I don't know if I'll be able to show you on camera, but I'll give it a go. I'll scooch back a bit. I started with a big 24 round granny square. Absolutely love granny squares. Who doesn't? I started with that, and then I surrounded that one with plain blocks in 12 rounds of all the different colours I'd used in the 24 round. And turn last time. They're the 12 colours that I'm using. And then I surrounded those plain blocks with 6 rounds of mixed blocks. Apart from when I got to, no, I didn't actually backtrack a bit. In the corners of where the plain blocks surround the 24 rounds are the 12 rounds, using all the colours, 12 colours. of Heather Lear's recipe, and then surrounding those, so you've got a corner block there, but then surrounding that is 2 plain, a little 6 round corner and 2 plain, and then you have a few mixed rounds, 2 plain when you come to the other corner, and another mixed for the new corner, and that goes all the way around. Now the bit I'm on is I'm going around the entire blanket with 1 row of each colour. So I've done 3 so far. The nice sort of blue, the mustard, and the spice. Oh, it's all Stylecraft. What is it? Stylecraft, just a minute. It's the common one that everyone uses. There's 80 odd shades. Sorry for diving out of camera. Oh, don't seem to have any ball bands in there anyway. Yes, the Stylecraft double knit that everybody uses. Is it Stylecraft Special double knit or Stylecraft Life? I can't remember. Excuse me for sniffing, I've got an itchy nose. But yeah, so that is it. Let's fold it in half. And that's still got a bit of a way to grow actually, because once I've done the granny treble bordering that I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to then, I think, add some more 12 round squares. I'm not sure yet. It is, I am winging it a bit, and it's very much being made as it's not the same as Heather Lear's pattern that she devised from these colours, but it is my own pattern, but the colours are the colour recipe by Heather Lear. She's absolutely fantastic at colour recipes. So I keep that on my lap actually. I'm always cold, I'm always very, very cold. Sorry. Just noticed my little badge was squiffy there. It's, I'll try and get a bit closer to show you. That says Crochet Lover, and it's one of the lovely little gifts you get in Amanda Bloom's little box of crochet boxes, which I've had some of those in the past. Right, so that is my crochet blanket in progress. Days gone by. Now then, this section I like to show you something I've made in the past, and here it is. Try not to keep the table so I don't jiggle the camera. Right, this is a Days Gone By project. Now, I was inspired to make this by Catherine Senior of Craft and Treats podcast. She has a Facebook group, I think it's called Craft and Treats Bag Along. She started it a long time ago, and she started making some bags which I quickly fell in love with. I hadn't been that long a crocheter at the time, so it was a nice easy project to get your teeth into. It could be as hard or as easy as you wanted it to be, but it started off with the granny fat bottom bag, which was designed by, unfortunately I can't remember all of the lady's name. I think her first name, I think she's from the Netherlands. Unfortunately she's passed away now. I think her name is spelled Rinske. but she was very well known in the crochet world. She made a beautiful fat bottom crochet bag, and I made one of my own. I should have brought it along to show you today, unfortunately I didn't. But from that, and from Catherine's Craft and Treats Facebook, Bag Along Facebook group, I was inspired to have a go at my own. So I made a load of little 2 round granny squares, very into the granny squares as you can tell, in a little cube shape. And then I joined them all together, and again all Stylecraft, it's either special or life double knit yarn, and they were scraps from the previous project. And in each panel of the cubes I put this little 2-colour round in the middle, and then using the same grey, I got some garden twine and double crocheted over the handles one way, and then I turned round and went back the other way, double crochet, and there's a double crochet round across the entire top of the bag. And the flowers, which are creasing up quite a lot now, are a free pattern from Lucy of Attic 24 blog, including the leaves. And inside I had this fabric. I actually bought it in a sale in John Lewis in Bluewater. I live in Kent, by the way, on the south coast in Eastbourne, and you might actually hear a seagull now and then, so just so you know why. But this fabric I bought for another project and didn't quite have enough, so I'll turn this in the other way. I made the lining for this bag out of it, and I'm actually making another one, and there's enough lining to make that as well. Now with my linings, I'm not very good at measurements and stuff like that, and so I don't make a cube to drop inside the cube of the bag, but I do split the panels, if you like, so they're joined on the bottom but split on the sides, and I just sew them down like that. I just found it saved a lot of heartache. So they are secured down on the sides. I'm not the best sewist in the world. I'm a stitcher, not necessarily a sewer. And these are all hand stitched, and the top edge to cover up some of my not so neat hand stitch is covered in this pretty grey lace to go with the grey that I've joined it all in, so it looks quite pretty. Put it back in the right way, and I use this as a project bag. Go back to talking about project bags now as I'm on this, and you know, I'll keep a sock in it. At the moment I'm actually keeping another one that I'm making, because I think they're very handy little project bags, and you can, you know, the knitting group I used to belong to, I haven't been for quite some time, I must admit. It's a very handy little thing to just pick up and carry off with your little sock projecting. So I'm making one again in Stylecraft. I believe this is Parchment and Rose, the colourways, the Stylecraft special dub on it. Fairly sure it's special. And as I said, these are the colours which I think are Parchment and Rose. And I had enough material to do the same lining. So that's another work in progress really, but I'd forgotten that I had that in progress. Now on the subject of project bags, as I said, yes, I do absolutely love the beautiful project bags that are made by so many people on YouTube, and I have actually bought a couple, but I don't buy very many. I tend to like You get these lovely sort of cotton tote bags all over the place now, and at very, very good prices. This one is my favourite, Winnie the Pooh, and that was from Poundland, and it was only a pound. This one I picked up I believe it was my first trip to Yarndale. And again, I tend to use those. And this one is a drawstring. I haven't used this one yet, so it's still quite stiff. This is quite large, but these come from Amazon, and I think the large one came in a pack of 4 for a very, very small amount of money. I can't remember the exact amount, but my memory serves me right, they were under £10 for a pack of 4. And I also have a smaller sock size, this is more shawl size, sock size version of these, which came in a pack of 6, but again for a very small amount of money. And they are 100% cotton. Another thing is you can decorate them how you want. I'm into all sorts of crafts. I love knitting, crochet, stitching, but I will try most things, and quite excited by the fact that I can decorate these myself, perhaps using some stamps and some fabric paints or something, who knows. That's there I go, umming again. You have to know I'm an ummer. So the other days gone by thing that I was going to show you today is this cross stitch. Here it is. And isn't that beautiful, the winter scene in that? This is actually quite an old one. I absolutely love robins and winter scenes. It's my favourite thing to cross stitch, winter scenes. Look at those pretty snowdrops, the little robins sitting on the fence post there. And then I just love the distance that has been created in this, where you get the little little lake, is it, on the side, and the little path that goes right up into that little woodland home in the back, and the bare trees, and I absolutely love this design. I actually keep it up all year round. Now it's backed with, I backed it with felt and made a sort of bell pull type of thing out of it by using doweling, and you know those cotton wool balls you can get in craft shops. They're quite solid, and I think they're compacted cotton wool. And so I made, I varnished, I think it was a varnish, it might have been a wood stain. It's a wood stain actually. I wood stained the doweling and the compacted cotton wool balls, and stuck the cotton wool balls on the end of the doweling to make this bell pull type of mounting. And then I added some ribbon, and it just hangs. Just put it there for now. Now, so that's my days gone by section, and the next stuff is new stuff. Have I got any new stuff? Yes, I have. So I'm going to move the camera so as you can see. Went to Aldi's on Sunday with my son, and he very kindly bought me some yarn. word had gone out on Facebook, and the yarn I'm talking about is the cakes that you see up there. You see those cakes? I won't get the whole lot down, but he bought me all those, and these big 400-gram balls. I love making blankets, and I love making knitting Aran sweaters. So, wasn't I lucky? Sorry, get the camera back to where it was. I got... Yes, so as I say, Aldi's have a special craft special buy. They have some things called special buys, from what I can gather, and they get new stuff in. Besides it being a supermarket selling food and household products and stuff, they get new stuff in, which they call special buys, which is only available for a short time, and they are sort of down the centre of the shop. And word went round on Facebook that Aldi were having a craft special buy thing going on the 3rd of February. So of course it goes round on Facebook, and we all hot-foot it down there to see what they've got. Actually, oops, just knock that down. I have to put that later. They also have some fabric, and they had 2 packs of fat quarters. And I think they were £4. It's 100% cotton, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 in a pack. Don't know if I can show you any more of the colours there. Not very good at this, am I? And the other one is in these lovely bright spring colours. Lovely daisy one there, and yellow, yeah. And so I picked up, they're £4 each. I picked up a couple packs of those as well. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, because as I said, all stitching I tend to do by hand. I have made quilts by hand as well, and not very many, I might add, about 3 or 4 I think altogether, full bed-size quilts, and I even made a raggedy quilt by hand as well, which my sister kindly relieved me of. Yeah, Aldi's is well worth it, because their yarn's not bad, you know. The Aran yarn, I've actually started making a project in one of those big 400-gram balls of Aran yarn. I've only just started it, so I won't show you yet, but just a plain stocking stitch jumper. I haven't made a jumper for a while, so I wanted to get back into the swing of it. And the yarn they sell does have 25% wooling, and it's quite nice to work with, actually. So I'm really, really pleased that I was going to go along there anyway, and forgetting at the time when I'd made up my mind, or not knowing that my son was coming down that weekend at the time. So it was lovely that A, he took me, B, he treated me to all that yarn. You know, I'm really lucky. So yes, that's my new stuff. And also I will be going through a book now and then. I didn't bring it with me, but if you don't mind me disappearing for a moment. Oh, it's nice and warm under that blanket. Just a moment, I'll grab it. Here it is. I'm going to put that blanket back over my legs. So, I show you one of my books towards the end of the podcast, and here's this week's one that I decided to show. It's called The Ultimate Crochet Bible, and it's by Jane Crowfoot. one of my favourite people in the crochet world. And it says on the back, it's an essential guide to crochet. Learn how to crochet from scratch with a complete guide for beginners and experts. And it goes through many techniques. Obviously I can't show you anything with a pattern on it, but it's a diagram book. And it shows you how to make a magic loop. It's all pretty good beginner stuff. I haven't been crocheting as long as I have knitting. Knitting I started when I was 7. My Auntie Betty taught me to knit when I was around 7 years old. But a very good source book if you're just into crochet or if you're an expert. Plenty of things to learn in there. And it can be got from Amazon. I'll put a link below. But yeah, my Auntie Betty taught me to knit when I was only 7, which was about 53 years ago, good grief. And I taught myself to crochet when I was 50, which was nearly 12 years ago, because I was determined. I wanted to make a granny square. I tried several times before and failed, but one day I was just determined. It was my 50th birthday, and I grabbed a ball of yarn and a crochet hook, and I thought, right, I'm sitting down and I'm not budging until I have made a granny square. And I did it. Maybe one day I'll show you my very first granny square blanket. And yes, it was, I was absolutely delighted. The reason I really wanted to learn to crochet was because in searching through Amazon one day, I wanted to, I came across a book called Bavarian Crochet, and I'll show you a Bavarian crochet blanket in the podcast soon. And absolutely blew me away, this Bavarian crochet. And I really had to learn it. So I taught myself how to crochet, not in the normal way I might add, where everyone tends to hold the yarn and manipulate the yarn from the left hand if you're right-handed, and you work the crochet hook with the right hand. I just couldn't do it that way. So I actually found my own way, which is similar to the way I knit, and it produces the same results anyway. And if you're a knitter who struggles to crochet, I've actually got a video out called Crochet Techniques for Knitters, which you might find helpful, where I show you the way that I managed to get my crocheting done. And yeah, so that's a little bit about my history in crafts. I've been cross-stitching for over 30 years with gaps in between. And I love trying lots of new stuff, like prick and stitch, which is basically an embroidery on card. Again, I have another video out which shows you how to do that. But mostly I love to try my hand at anything. I'm not a naturally artistic person, but I do believe I am a naturally creative person. To me, I think they're two different things. So yeah. It's all good. Now I thought I just saw, oh yes, it's another thing that I wanted to introduce. I'm a great fan of charity shops, and so occasionally I will go into a charity shop and come away with a brilliant buy. Or in Eastbourne we tend to have a lot of events, and one of the events I went to about 3-4 years ago was a steampunk fair. I'm a great fan of steampunk. I love all the steampunk costumes. And there's a little steampunk winter fair that was in Eastbourne one year, and we decided to go. And people walking around in these magnificent costumes, they looked stunning. And there's all these stalls selling the types of clothing that you would perhaps associate with steampunk and jewellery and all sorts of things. And I went there, as I said, about 3-4 years ago, and actually picked up this handbag. And I love this handbag. I picked it up for £5. I was absolutely delighted. What's the back of it? Let's give you a closer look on that. Got a nice pocket on the back, which is lined in black. Pretty flowers on the ends of the handles, and a little, what I call old-fashioned clasp, purse clasp. It's actually quite, opens out quite wide on the bottom. This beautiful lace it's trimmed with, and a black inside with a zipped pocket, and actually a little mobile phone pocket as well, which perhaps makes you realise it's not as vintage as I might have at first thought, but even so, I was delighted with it. And to show you that little decoration there, let's move that out of the way. I have another one similar to this, which I picked up I used to live in and work in one of the London suburbs, near Greenwich, and they have lovely little markets, usually a different one every day. And I was there once and I saw this stall selling similar bags to that, but this other one is bigger. I'll have to dig it out one day and I'll show you that another day. But made in a very similar style, and it's in blues, and it's got a little porcelain doll as the handbag tab on it. So it's beautiful, and yeah, I'll try and remember to dig that out one day to show you. So that is it. That is the end of the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed a look into my little yarny world. Subscribe and like if you want to. I would appreciate it, especially if you'd like to know when more of my podcasts come out, or my tutorials, which I do sometimes as well. So thanks for joining me. It's lovely to spend time with you. Have a very happy, crafty couple of weeks before I see you again. Bye for now.